welcome to the Rhythmizer 1.1 update. We've got some awesome new features to take this beast to a whole new level, both in terms of experimentation and workflow. Let's go through these new settings quickfire, and then we'll go into more detail. First up, you can now drag to MIDI. Just drag straight from those triangles onto your MIDI channel. Simple as that. The loop button's been updated to make it far more expressive. Get glitchy repeating notes with pitch hang. Trigger quick bursts of halftime or double time playback. Get more complex chords now based on scale notes. We've increased the maximum note length to 4 bars long for some epic drones. So let's start big. This one's a hugely requested feature. See those triangles lighting up? You can now drag to MIDI. Everything you just played, you can drag to any MIDI channel. Every time you press play, the triangles go dark, which means that they're writing. Hit stop and you can drag to any synth channel, or even your desktop to save it as a MIDI file. Next up, we've given you the option to unlatch the loop button, which means it'll only loop as long as you're touching that control. Also, we've turned the loop subdivisions into one scrollable value, and we've increased the maximum loop speed to a very glitchy 30-second notes. And yes, all of that looped playback does get written to the drag to MIDI. Let's check it out with a sampler. Another new feature we've got is called pitch hang. Let's take a look at this little piece I've got lined up. I'm just going to mute that synth for a moment. Let's focus specifically on these drums. Currently they're just triggering at random from these drum cells. Enabling pitch hang on any of these groove knobs means that if any of these grooves are triggered, and there are one or more repeats of this groove in a row, then the pitch will actually get stuck on those repeats. The pitch will sort of hang on these repeats. Let's visualize that. So with pitch hang off, and let's turn it on. Pitches are getting stuck and glitching. I mean, really all the new features go so well with the loop knob. Let's check out pitch hang on some drum and bass. Here's a sneaky one. You can now click on either side of the word groove to get double and half-time playback. I absolutely love the combination of this half and double time effect, whilst also using the loop button and sweeping the loop subdivisions. Oh, by the way, you can right-click in this area to turn latch on, meaning you can temporarily lock it in half or double time. And yes, this control can be MIDI mapped to your controller. For those of you who like digging into and exploring more interesting harmonic chordal progressions, we've got a really cool new update for you, and the best way to explain it is to just hear it, and I'll walk you through it afterwards. So let's see what's going on here. So in Polystack user mode, we can generate new chords just by adding the semitone intervals. So for instance, I could add octaves. Let's see what that looks like. Now, if I come over here to our scale section, for instance, I've got a custom scale right now, I'm still going to be getting this octave on D sharp because D sharp is our input note. This octave is not placed on top of scale notes. So for instance, I could just add a fifth. Or a third. So no matter what note is playing in our scale section, we're just getting 12 semitones up from our input note, which is D sharp. But what if it was adding that octave to every scale note instead? And that's the new feature. So if you right click in this area and do use chosen note as bass, now it's going to be adding 12 semitones on top of every scale note. We can add an octave below as well. Now, when we're adding octaves to notes, every note's going to obviously quote unquote work. There's not going to be any obviously wrong notes. But if I was to say start adding a perfect fifth onto every note, how would that sound? Interesting. What if I was to add a minor third to every note? So things can get out of hand pretty quickly, but we have included some pretty cool presets here. For instance, this one's based on the circle of fifths. How about adding triads to this very narrow selection of scale notes? That's all I was really doing in this first example, is using this circle of fifths and then sending it to several different layers of synths. Okay, for the geeks out there, we've also added a second chaos engine. So in this case, I've got Chaos 1 modulating oscillator A pan, Chaos 2 modulating macro 4. One thing I'm enjoying at the moment is using the loop button to kind of capture little snippets which seem to sort of fly over the step sequencer. Listen. Of course, when you're done, these triangles light up, you can drag it all out to MIDI, and that MIDI does include all CC data, all looping data, everything from the step sequencer, etc. We got a lot of requests for longer subdivisions, so now you can generate notes up to 4 bars long for really long sustained notes, drones, and chords. And check it out, here I'm using that new poly mode to add an octave below, an octave on top, and a fifth to all of my long sustained pad drones. I suppose we could wrap up the video here, but to be honest, these lush spacey pads are so nice to listen to. So let's hang out for a second. And in fact, we just want to mention that most of these new features are based on ideas that came from you. The pitch hang, the halftime double time, the unlatched loop button. Actually, pretty much all the new features came from conversations, emails, the comments section. So hey, we're listening, and keep that feedback coming, because together we're building a pretty awesome creative tool here.